While aid for Ukraine has become entangled in a partisan fight on Capitol Hill, it can be easy to lose sight of what's at stake in the war and the human toll it's taking. In a new documentary, Glory to the Heroes, French writer and filmmaker Bernard-Henri Lévy turns the focus back on those he calls the heroes, not just the fighters on the front lines, but also the civilians whose decision to remain in Ukraine is in itself an act of defiance. From the flooded streets of Kherson after Russia destroyed a dam under its control, to the Eastern Front where battles raged in Bakhmut, from Kharkiv in the north and Odessa in the south. Viewers experience Ukraine's summer counteroffensive through Lévy's lens.
Partez à la rencontre des résistants de la première heure, bénévoles et citoyens soldats qui se battent pour défendre l'Ukraine. Plus qu'un acte de résistance, un hymne à la liberté.
This is my country. This is my army. This is my heart. Understand?
Будем жить, и все.
L'Ukraine au cœur, un documentaire inédit de Bernard-Henri Lévy.
Ali Rogin recently sat down with Bernard-Henri Lévy to discuss the film.
Bernard-Henri Lévy, thank you so much. Welcome back. You say at the beginning of this film that your goal is to make sure that Ukraine does not become a forgotten war. Do you think it's at risk of becoming one?
There is a risk, and what is happening these days on Capitol Hill, what is happening in most of the world great capitals, increase the risk. There is a fatigue about Ukraine, and this worries me so much. I did this film. I went on front line. I went in the trenches in order to try to prevent this becoming a forgotten war, which is the worst. For a people to be victim of a forgotten war, it is the worst destiny possible on earth.
Ever since this full-scale invasion of Ukraine began, there have been many conflicts all over the world, but none seem to have captured the attention of the world quite like the war between Israel and Hamas. I don't mean to diminish the importance of that conflict by asking this question, but are you concerned that the war in the Middle East is taking attention away from what's happening in Ukraine?
It's an illness of our time, a plague of our time, not to be able to focus attention on two things at the same time. We have to understand the war of Hamas against Israel, the war of Putin, of Russia against Ukraine are two parts of the same picture. For many regards, the actors are linked on the two sides. Hamas and Putin are linked, we know that. We know that Moscow is the only big capital in the world where Hamas was received with red carpet before the October 7 pogrom and after the October 7 pogrom.
You visited Ukraine. This was your 11th trip there since the beginning of this war. One of the things that struck me the most was when you were embedded with soldiers on the front lines, one soldier says, if we had more ammunition, we could finish the job. Do you agree with that?
I more than agree. I saw it. I saw how they have 20 shells for the week, and they don't know when a new delivery will come, and they have a target. How many will they use? 1, 2, 3, not more. So the scarcity, the non-delivery, the lack of promises, or the betraying of promises of the West, this is a reality of which I am a personal witness.
Another reality that you capture is the incredible resilience, the passion of the Ukrainian people, the civilians, the fighters. What did you take away about those moments with the Ukrainian people?
My film is entitled Glory to the Heroes. I mean it. These guys who come with their violin, with their music instruments, who try to enhance, upgrade the morale of a troop of soldiers who lost their brothers a few hours before. The old lady who is growing some cucumbers and some tomato on the macadam of her street. The house is destroyed, there is just the pavement of the street. And there she puts some earth and she grows some cucumber. she's a hero too, and she will not move.
Another really striking set of moments in the film is when you talk to Russian captives, prisoners of war, who have been captured. They are incredibly demoralized. And then you contrast that with the spirit of the Ukrainian fighters, men who've lost limbs and who can't wait to get back on the front lines.
As you well say, I had the chance and the privilege to film both. And I see the difference. The Russians, they are really poor guys. They were taken out of jail. They were brought on front line. Nobody told us that they will fight. They were sold like slaves for 25,000 rubles each by the official officers of the official army to private companies like Wagner, you know. So when you compare that, the high morale of the Ukrainians and the low or the no morale, not morale at all, of the Russians, there is a logic. Since the antiquity, you cannot win a war when you don't know why you do it, and you cannot lose it when you have such a high morale. Now, there is the question of the weapon. Without F-16, without French Caesar cannons, of course, the war will last. So it has to end quickly, with the capitulation of the Russian army, which is logical, if we deliver what is needed for that.
And to that end, what is your message to lawmakers as they debate funding for this war?
I'm here since a few days. I hear that the borders are the big topic here. At the Congress and so on, border.
Right,
okay?
Funding is connected to, they want to connect it to
and our border
funding.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would like to say, with all my respect to Speaker Johnson, to Senator Graham, that the border of America, the border of Europe today is in Ukraine. Those who defend the border are these brave Ukrainian fighters whom I depict in my movie and others. The border is there. If we let Putin win the war, or even lose it half, it would be a terrible signal given to all those who hate the liberal values, the democratic way of life, the sense of freedom, which are cherished still in a big part of Europe and of America. It will be a horrible, terrible signal given to all the enemies of that in our countries and around.
The new documentary is Glory to the Heroes, Bernard-Henri Lévy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you.